Hello, welcome to another edition of today's show, and with me, Razak Musbao. Today we are shifting the attention a bit to women's football, and we're going to take a look at the Women's Premier League because it's starting in October next month, and it has a sponsor now, Malta Guinness. That it's been a long way coming, and we'll try and look at how, especially the sponsorship, is going to impact the performance and the whole management of the women's club in the country. And we'll talk about Berry Ladies because it's the Chief Executive Officer of Berry Ladies that we're having a conversation with, Miss Gifty Owarimens, a very, very astute person, highly respected person in the political space and also in the sports ecosystem. And Miss Gifty, thank you so much for receiving us in your office.
Thank you too.
Well, it's a very nice place. I saw some of your designs, some of the artworks, particularly the one with the pencil. I'm sure we cannot see, the viewers cannot see it, but that's a very nice work, nice one there. You have a nice office here. Some few weeks ago, the GFA announced the Malta Guinness is coming to give you money.
Yeah.
I heard it's about $250,000. How much are you getting?
we as CEOs are yet to have a meeting to finalize on what the figures will be.
In terms of what does it mean for women's football?
It's huge. You know, it's beautiful to know that now it's no more going to be called just the Women's Premier League, but then Malta Guinness Women's Premier League. At least it makes you understand that now brands are beginning to associate with women's football, which used not to be so. And that on its own is very exciting. If all we're even going to get was even going to drink Malta Guinness, I think it was going to be beautiful. But then again, at least now we know that they have placed in money to be able to give back to the women club. GFA has come out a few times to tell us some of the things they're going to use the money for, which I think is fair, on training the people, because the people that are in the game needs a lot of training. And whether we like it or not, Ghana's Premier League is not, even from the male to wherever, it's not being taken like it's supposed to be. We do more of just selections and other things that are not really helping the game. But then we are trying to get the world class where now we have Asante Kotoko playing for Champions League, and we want to see it better and better and better again. So yes, we would need all of these things to come in. Now some money is coming in means relief on financiers of these teams, because though they were not being given money, still you have to spend on the girls. And there are all rules that you have to still pay them. So how do you pay them? From whose money do you pay them? And then when you as an individual is trying to go for sponsorship, it's not that easy. But then if it becomes that broader scope of a brand name, then it's easier because you can now say, oh, Malta Guinness is associated with it, so you can also come on board, which makes it better. So I think that, yeah, we're going to have it.
I mean, what do you think the various women clubs in the country really did to attract this kind of sponsorship? Because that was one of my curiosity. Why did Malta Guinness, what did Berry Ladies, Azaka's Ladies, and all the others do, which Malta Guinness sat and was like, no, this is getting exciting, we have to get on board?
Branding.
That has been like the wow factor now.
That was our wow factor, because if you check how it's been, for instance, because twice we've had women clubs being, for instance, nominated for Best Social Media Branding of the Year and other things, which had never happened. We've had CEOs come out to compete with the Kotokos and the Haas and all that.
Your nomination?
Yeah, right. And it had never happened before because women football was very young. And if you check even on the GFA platforms, when they are playing, and you check even on social media, the eyes that are watching the women football, sometimes it's intriguing more than the male. When you check our stadiums now, people come into though we may not be charging, there was still no factor that excited them to come in. But now things are changing, people are beginning to appreciate it. Now we are bringing the old time strength of football, and where way back, before even Asante Kotoko would play any game, you would realize that there were this acrobatics, there were things that happened which I think women football started putting in for people to get excited. So I may not come there really to watch just the match. I would want to come there to just see how some aerobics teams are doing, and that excites me to want to just stay and say, okay, can I just see what those girls are doing? And before I know, I have stayed for the whole 90 minutes, and that keeps happening, which I think that Malta Guinness as a brand that is connected to the everyday person needed. And younger people are also getting more interested in the women's league, because when you realize even on social media, the followership these girls are getting, the kind of marketing they are getting is also beginning to get us up there that, hey, the women football can do something.
Talking about next season, money is coming in. What are the other things that you think needs to be done to raise the women's game, particularly improve spectatorship and a few other things relative to performance and the others? What do you think needs to be done to improve the game from the club side, from GFA side, and even maybe from the media side?
I think from us as club owners and CEOs of clubs, one of the things we are supposed to particularly do is to appreciate what the game is and then put in our best. And when I talk of best, often it's not about the money, it's about the prepping of these girls, how discipline will come out, how we'll position them, and then the impressions we give out there. Sometimes even when a CEO is called even for interviews and other things, we decide to decline, not because we don't want to, but we feel like, okay, what are we gaining out of all of this? So when we understand that the game has its own contributions, we also have to bring on board. Then I think we can do better. GFA may have to look at it from the broader side of the disciplinary committees, now making sure that referees do not misbehave, because really, for instance, we played Hazakis, and then with Berry Hazakis, when a referee did more than 10 minutes additional time, all the punishment was some 4-band league. So 4-band matches, how much is the person gaining out of all of this? But if I say that I'm banning you the whole of the season, then you know that you've lost something. Then this person cannot even go from Ghana to...
Talking about stiffer punishments.
Very, because the beauty of the game is destroyed when people take advantage of the game. Because if I'm playing and I have wasted so much time, and everybody knows that when it was 90 minutes, 95 minutes, Berry ladies had won the match, and then if somebody says that no, it has to equalize, so whether you like it or not, I'm going to play till you equalize, really. And these things also deter the teams from acting well, and it happened to a lot of teams because they sat on many other ones. Now, one of the things that the media also do that affect us is anytime there is a challenge with the women team, you hit on us like never before, because see, things had happened. There's been issues with all these male clubs. Sometimes the media are subtle because they are sometimes afraid of how the male supporters will come at them. But then again, I think when it happened at the McDonald Park or something, when one of the teams misbehaved during the Super Cup, which I happened to be vice chair of the committee. And I remember how the media picked it up, and then for almost a week, it was just the talk of the day, like punish the player. Nobody was looking at even the details of what really had happened, how much strength somebody feels, because yes, a player must be disciplined, but then to what extent will my discipline stay? When so much Berry was playing, all we saw was that after additional 5 minutes is added, additional 5 minutes is also added again. After the 10 minutes, don't you think that a player would it would be rational for a player to want to react? And after the player reacts, someone would not just look at what might have made the player reacted, but the media were like, the players are indisciplined, they should be banned. Nobody was looking at what really had happened. And at the end of the day, it was the bad thing. It took all the beautiful game we're having, all the Super Cup excitement. All we spoke about was the indiscipline side.
So there's issues like officiating that needs to be looked at. There's issue about reportage, where media needs to be circumspect about it. Media reportage is one
of the biggest deterrent for us as a women's club team, because sometimes when the media is discussing us, how they even rubbish it. I've listened to a media house discuss women and say, oh, a man there's some and I was very amazed that this is someone who really started covering women football somewhere in the early 2000s. Not male football, and all of a sudden today, because he feels he has some viewership, he says that he should focus on the Chelsea's and the Arsenal's and the Man U's and forget about.
That's the thing about the perception about the women's game. I mean, a lot of people still think, oh, this is just for fun. They don't get to see like the way you approach Berry Ladies is a business, and the other clubs is a business, and they approach it with that mindset. For a lot of the fans, the perception is still that, oh, they're just having fun. I mean, they seem not to have come to terms that women's game, women's football is real business.
The charity, they say, begins at home. It starts with our media, because who takes it to the public is the media. Now, it's about how you discuss us. For instance, this season, Berry's been able to done so many transfers, international transfers of our girls. Now, how many times did the media even discuss transfers that had come up? There's been the biggest transfer, which is a 300,000, being done for the first time in the history of women football. How many of the media people have sat to discuss it? But no. But when there is a transfer of Lionel Messi, they don't share it with you, but you still talk about it. So this is an international transfer that was done, but for a South African. Till this time, I had not heard a single media house discuss it.
Also about opening up and sharing.
But it was not my team. This is, like I said, nobody in Ghana owes Udinese, nobody in Ghana owes Real Madrid, nobody in Ghana owes Kaka. But why is it that when Kaka is transferred, it becomes news in Ghana? Because you fish for them. Now, when there was, and this is like the biggest thing to happen to the women's football, that for the first time we had a transfer of a $300,000. Till this time, I keep trying to read on portals from Ghana, if a single individual is, we were able to send someone like our girl Philomena Abekan out of Ghana to Semba Ladies. Till this time, it was all over our social media platforms. Not even a single even on your social media handles, did any of you pick up to say, hey, congrats to Berry Ladies for being able to do a transfer to Semba Ladies where she's going to play? No. And all of these things affect. Hazakers keep transferring girls. Nobody speaks about them. So it's just a point of they building their own brand and other things. But if any of them had slapped someone, would have been the news. Why? So unless the media helps us to be able to say that, see, now women football is now business. Women football is moving from it being just excitement and some girl wanting to play. But then the girl appreciating that I don't want to be a man. I want to do my football, but I'm doing it as my profession. And these girls are beginning to be professionals. Then we would just be where we are. Because the more you push us out there, the more we are sold out there. See, we went into Wafu, and Pim Dakwa did marvelously well. But why? Why were we stopped? Because the team we played, which is Rivers, that the Bayelsa people had so much that to the extent that their winning bonuses were running on $200 and $300. Now, if I'm playing with a girl who has a $200 or $300 as a winning bonus, and I'm going to give my young ladies, let's say, 100 Ghana cedi as a winning, you think which of them is going to play better? Someone is going to be given as much as a 3,000 Ghana cedi for winning a single match.
Yeah, so the motivation obviously is.
And why is it not there? Because even the media to be able to push us out there, so if I go to a brand, the brand is going to say, okay, cool, I heard of this thing on Joy FM, I heard of this thing on Adom FM, I heard on this thing on Joy TV. It's not there. So until the media says, see, we're going to collaborate well, tell us when your match days are, tell us your training times, give us some slot, let's speak about it. I think it's only your station that's doing better than all of them, having like a how do you call it, a program that even talks about women football, that talks about, even that one, sometimes you realize that it becomes an excitement where the women's football begin to talk about men small. So we just have to look at it again, where we say that holistically as a nation, we're giving more playing time, more airtime for these women football things to be discussed. If not, we're going to be there, because my first match, which is supposed to be Barry's first match, is with Hazakis. Now it's going to be like
the big game,
yeah,
and obviously
the biggest game of all the
yes,
matches we keep playing.
We're definitely going to come and look at that. But I think also one of the things that a lot of the women clubs need to consider is the organization of their clubs. You know, I think the clubs need to be well structured. It's important to have not just maybe a spokesperson or a media officer. You need to have a proper public relations person who can really establish that relationship with the media and leverage on whatever contacts they have to push your brand out there. Because for a lot of the male class, for instance, we don't necessarily go to them for the stories. They push it to you, oh, I've done this, you publish it, I've done this, you publish it. So I think that's the side that some of the female teams need to look at. Yeah, because for some of them, I think they feel that, oh, it's not anything. If they don't talk about them, it's not anything. Or like they do a transfer, they feel it's just...
You're sometimes scared to tell you the stories, because the one we tell the positive, one day you pull the negative out. Yeah, I think so, because for instance, somewhere last week, like at Berry, we had a whole strategic session, and then a lot of things come up, and you realize that, hey, there's sometimes you need this kind of conversations to come out and then speak about it.
Great. So, I mean, finally, let's wrap up on the Women's Premier League. Come next season, what are you expecting in terms of the Women's Premier League?
I think now that we have at least a league sponsor, we're going to have more fun. It's for us at Berry, we are trying to do more restructuring. We are trying to make people appreciate the game. So we may end up being maybe really we've been the first team, I think, to be able to fully have our fan base registered and be able to connect with them, jerseys for free, tag them, and trying to bring more excitement to the game. And then making the fans part of the game, because we realize that they are the main stakeholders. If they get involved in the game, other brands will want to be associated with, but brands wants people, and it's the eyes they are looking for, so which we are doing. And for us, this year's league is supposed to be more a nostalgic one, because it connects with the the Black Stars going for the World Cup. So there's going to be some few breaks which would give the girls some time of relief to rest, but then again it will affect us, because for women, when you break them, you have to bringing them back is a little difficult, but we'll have to do it. I think most of our first leg is going to be our away matches, which most of the time I think owners like, because at that time when they finish their away matches, the strength begins to dwindle, and that's when they are coming home, and their fan base are going to protect them.
So we'll expect so much excitement this season.
This year is going to be more exciting, because Max TV is also picking us up every time, and then I think that we are going to, for us, we are doing new jerseys. We will do our jerseys by close of week, God willing, and then we have many other fun stuff we're going to do.
We'll talk about Berry Ladies. We'll spend some more time to talk about Berry Ladies.
And then my first match with Hazakis, I think we've done it before. We've gone there to win. We won them on our platform. We've gone there. They know we won, and then referee decided otherwise. And then just ask that. Now that we are going in, there is that clarity. But we've already spoken. And I keep telling Nana and Basigi that, see, no matter what, we'll ship them for everybody to know. Yes.
Interesting. On that note,
we've been on there ever since we came.
Oh dear. We'll talk more about Berry Ladies. We're going to have some little more discussion about it to understand what they are doing, because a lot of people describe them as the model women's football club in the country, and I think that's something very profound, and we're going to try and get some details about that, what they're doing. They had some strategic session a few days ago, and we want to know what it is coming. One of my curiosity was Berry. That name was like, why Berry? Why did you, of all the names, he chose Berry Ladies? It used to be Halifax Ladies, then Berry Ladies. First of all, I mean, Halifax Ladies, how did you come about acquiring the club, and why Berry Ladies?
Right, so so Halifax, we all know of Halifax, which used to be at Nungwa. They were doing well, quite well, but they had their own issues. We decided it started like a social responsibility of what can we give back to the society. And I have done football before myself. I had played football before. Yes, when I was in Ken University.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
what position actually? Were you scoring?
No, I was not. I was a midfielder.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd played before. Looking at it from all of that, I felt it was something we could give back. So in giving back, we decided to acquire Berry. So it started with Sami and Nimado having the conversation and say, hey, can't we just own a club? And then we wanted to start from the scratch and realized that, okay, Halifax wanted to trade. So one of our assistant coaches got to us and said, oh, they want to sell it, so why don't you guys come purchase? And then we got it. Now every club had gone through some processes, and then when you pick it up, you're just supposed to appreciate what can I do with the club. Now, berry, because of three things. One, berry, the fruit berry is the only fruit in the world that is eaten all out. So you eat every part of berry. Tomatoes is a berry, all the other berries we know. So you chew every part of it. And anywhere a berry seed drops, it also grows again. So you don't struggle to grow berries. And then the berry color, you know, every berry is beautiful. It has like, it's so colorful. Now, then again, there is a town in Australia called Berry. And that town, one of the things the town is profound for is that to not make any royal, which is the England Royals, sad. The town must from 1st January to 31st of December have events. So anytime the royals are sad, they can fly to Australia to enjoy. Wow. And then looking at that, we say, okay, so all of these resonate with us. We want to be more colorful, want to come out there and be able to be useful to those young ladies right from in and out and not have any blockade in their lives. That people should come with us on Berry, whether you are a technical member or you are a playing buddy, and think that after football, what's next for me? So we're giving back to them not just on the field but also off the pitch. That was the idea. And then we have our colors, we have, when you check our colors, we have something that is more of the baby pink, we have the mauve, and then deep violet. The whole idea was to bring out that kind of thing. And these colors are colors you have to use all the primary colors to be able to get them out. So the excitement was to bring these out, and our logo has the 6 posts in, and that is very spiritual into, because we are Christians. And then as owners, we're looking at what point did God create the human being.
Interesting.
So we did a lot of sitting down to be able to draw even our logos. A lot of people, and then it was about sustainability. And when anytime anybody who is associated with Nana Kwame Nketia Bekum Chelsea, because I happen to be a shareholder of Bekum Chelsea, and if you get associated with him, you realize that you begin to love to appreciate the spirituality of things and not just look at things from just the surface of it. So we had to do a lot of thinking through myself and him, and then we decided to come up with the whole logo, which meant so much and dear to me. So anytime I'm even angry at my own team, I look back at the logo and say, hey, this is what you made. And so far it's been beautiful. We decided to also rebrand women football and not make the woman feel like a man, but rather be the feminine she's supposed to be. So right after the pitch, she still feels like a woman. When she's coming, before she enters the pitch, she is a woman. Because one of the challenges women football had been having was people did not want their women to play football because they want to see their mothers, they want to see their aunties in them, they want to see their sisters in them. They don't want to see some tomboyish in them. So we just had to tweak it. So we decided to put discipline in, try to change the perception. So if you check the kind of things we wear on the field, they are feminine. Any of our jerseys, our tracksuit, and anything the girls do, we don't do terrible haircut. We try to be very disciplined. There is no way a Berry player would ever abuse a referee, never. Because it's not about being sidelined by, being punished by GF or anything. At Berry, we'll punish you. And these are the principles we wanted to. When we are coming in, they have a clubhouse. You're supposed to stay there. We have hours of taking phones, doing this, doing that. Things that makes you know that you're a real human being and not some footballer who's supposed to be a rascal, because it's gone. Gone were the days when they said rascals play. Now we have people who are still going to school, who are very educated. We've had some of our students completing unis and done their national service. We've had some of them going abroad, like Nina and Co. at Baltimore to play, and then making sure that these girls do not leave school. So Constance is still in school. We had to make sure she was finishing to continue. And that is what we believe. If you cannot go to school, we know that, okay, what is the basic thing you can do? You can do a craft. How can we help you to fix all of these things? Our other people too. Yes. Yeah, beyond the pitch. Yeah, because whether we like it or not, women after some time will have to stop playing. Now, they are not being paid all the big monies. There are some Mojans and the rest were paid. Yeah. So when they leave the pitch, what can they call themselves at? Will they be able to say, for instance, today, if any of them say they don't want to play, if Portia Asante, our goalkeeper, one of our goalkeepers, says she doesn't want to play again, she is a graduate. She's done her service. She can get a job. If she decides to do sports, then she can become whatever she wants to do in sports, whether a referee, whether any technical she wants to do. And then our general captain, for instance, who is now growing, is someone we are trying to move from being a player into a coaching point, because she has a strength to. We have, for instance, one of our assistant coaches used to be a player, Rhoda, and now she is a coach. So for us, we do transition. We do not think that after they are done, bye-bye, and then you go away. No, they have to find themselves in the game, because that is a game they love, and the passion must be translated into something beautiful for them, and that's what we very behave. The reason why we had all these strategic sessions is to make sure that at any point in time as a club, there are things that become your setbacks. So after 2 seasons of being in, and we just have to set back to say, see, what can we do better? What can we restructure? What can we get to make everybody happy? And then we see ourselves as a family and not just a football club. Because we want to, for the next 10 years, for the next 20 years, people that are playing to say that, see, I owe at least 1% shares of Berry. It shouldn't just be a point of Gifty or Gifty's family. It should look at it from that holistic approach of everybody feeling I am part of it. And that's what Berry is growing to be.
The relationship with the fans, because that's one thing that you have distinguished yourself at registering fans and making sure you even, because I think I have quite a number of friends on Facebook, and when you had your session, your strategic session, it was all over my timeline. Bury this, bury that, everywhere I was going. I mean, talk to me about your relationship with your fans and what it is that you've done to attract the kind of followership you have.
All right, it would amaze you to know that even our head coach, so Messi Tego, would go to the extent, even before we would get the fans their shares for free, because we realized that you have to attract them to come, because women football, unlike the male, you're not able to trade your jerseys. Now, she could even go to the extent of doing shirts for them. We make them so much part of the decisions that there are times the coach would have even conversations with them, because some of them come to watch our playing time, our training sessions, and they even know which player is good and which player is not. And when fans are sitting back and they say, no, coach, this player, next week, please don't play this player. You'd have to find a way of appeasing them. So all of these things had come, and then you'll be amazed that we've had times where players are not well, and then fans just said players are not well, and then they move their motors, and other hospitals, the place is full, because they want to see how their stars are doing. Wow. And this is the relationship we have with them. We play in Medina where people love sports and they come out to do the sports. So we connect with them at places we are supposed to connect with them. We connect with the mosque, we connect with the people that live in Medina. So we are there and they are us. And then we don't make the players feel different from the people. And anytime that our technical team are there, they try to merge up with them, they try to have conversations. So yes, they have concerns, which they see too, because not all teams would want to listen to, you have a concern, I'm the one spending, you don't spend, what's your concern? But we decide to listen, we decide to get closer to them and make them hover around us. That's why really we are all over the place. And Medina is a place where you can get very properly structured teams and groups and people that decide themselves. So when they come with you, it's like having a whole battalion follow you.
Amazing. Now let's talk about next season, because you are upbeat about winning the league next season and even going to Africa. How do you intend achieving that? But even before that, let's talk about last season. You placed 7th. That was not a good performance. I was looking at your numbers. You won just 4 games, drew 10 of them. But what happened last season? What lessons do you take from last season?
Last season, there were problems with us for very known reason. Our coaches had so much national assignments that we ended up having less coach-player interface in time, because almost all the time Messi was out of the country. We had, at one point, we had loaned a lot of our players also out for other assignments. That there were moments that you'd be amazed that we had just about sometimes 13 players and we had to still go play. We had most of our players, our senior players, also at the various national team call-ups, and it also affected us a lot. So this season, I think we are doing more of the homing. We are not doing more outs to be able to structure back. And obvious, you know, even when we had all of these setbacks, we still had to do more draws than lost. And the draws were just, like I said, because we had given so much out to the country, we had given so much out to other clubs that it affected us. So this year, we are restructuring. We are not doing most of them. We are rather, so there are some clubs that are still seeking for things from us, and we are still saying, hey, can you hold us for us to finish winning our league? And when we are done,
let's talk about that, winning the league. How do you? That's massive. That's big ambition. Winning the league in a zone where you have Hazaka's ladies, and they've almost dominated that zone. How do you intend to achieve that?
The last time we were at second, which placed us third in the whole league, you remember that the goal difference was 1. The point difference was 1. No, even goal difference, we are ahead of them, but it was a point difference that was 1 that made them win the Southern. You see, I keep telling people that, see, Hazakers live on past glory.
Really?
Reality.
Wow, they were in the finals of the CAF Champions League.
Yes, but they were not winners of the Champions League. And you see, it's time we clear these facts. Hazakers played in the Champions League finals. Good.
They won the FA Cup, they won the Premier League.
Good deal. There's been many, you see, I don't want us to play into the Kotokohas game, Kotokohas rivalry, but the truth is that I keep hearing this whole thing of Hazakers saying they are the champions of Africa. No. Are we going to be that low of saying that they are still champions of Africa. End of story. Now, whether you come first, you come third, you come second, as far as you are not first, it ends the story.
They won the WAFU, so in the whole of
so
West
maybe
Africa,
what you could say is like they are the WAFU champions. I would get it. And that one, a lot of other teams will do that. I think that if you check what happened last season when WAFU had, and this year teams came in more powerful, more stronger, more organized than last year. So even last year, I watched all the matches, and I know that Nana and Basigi and everybody watched those matches, and they cannot compare last year's game with the game of this year. This year's games were tougher, they were more refined, people were ready for it, and people wanted to show something to Africa. So they can't compare the two. But you see, Hazakes may be I always say that I'm rather afraid of underdogs than people that make a lot of noise, because the underdogs have a way they excite themselves, and we have many underdogs coming in this year, especially for the southern zone. We have very great teams coming up, and these great teams are rather my stopper. For Azakes, like I said, we've beaten them many times, we'll beat them again. But what we are supposed to do is to make sure that the underdogs that are coming in, who you may see as nobodies, they are younger and they are vibrant. So you have to stop them. And for us, we are going in to stop them. And that is what we are going to do. We are stopping everybody because, see, Barry, we've done it before. People know. And this is the time to prove it again. And it's just like football is a game of chance. And sometimes you win some, you lose some, and you draw some. But most of them, I'm going to tell you, we're going to make sure all the league times we have for this year, we're going to make sure we win them. And that is more important. And at least yesterday, for instance, I met my girls. I know how ready they are. They've done their pre-season. They are about to wrap up to go into their main season sessions. We have some few games. Sierra Leone is coming to Ghana to play with us. Their national team wants to play with Berry. We know Simba ladies are preparing for the Champions League, and it's possible they may come have a training session with us. And then we have all these things being done to get it. But we are not looking at, like I said, Hazakes, we are looking at a point where we are looked at as a world-class team, as a team that appreciates the Africanness in us, yet we are able to project ourselves internationally. So we don't just do the playing on the pitch, we do more off pitching, because that is what we need to do. That whether there is a Black Queens going on World Cup, whether there is a Princess going on World Cup or not, there should be a Berry that is able to say that our players are getting good playing time and they are being projected internationally.
So Hazakes ladies, you play Hazakes ladies on the 7th of October. Are you ready? Because
2-0.
You're scoring a 2-0. Oh,
but
just
our,
two?
Yeah,
you could score 3 or 4, but you chose 2. Why 2?
It's our payback for the misbehavior that happened when we went there.
We're really pained by that.
Yes, because it destroyed, no joke, there were people that wanted to come into the game, because every day, sitting down as a politician and as a public person, I try to convince more friends to want to be part of the game. I had few friends going there, few political people going to watch it, and it was a deterrent for them. Like, is this the kind of game you guys do? So for me, it's a payback to
on 7th October,
yes,
against Hazakes for his revenge, sort of.
It's not just a revenge. It's like I said, it's to clear the name of football and make football beautiful like it used to be, and let the world know that, see, it happened, but we have come to clean it, and we are going to help Hazakes to clean it themselves. Yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting, and I'm sure.
And I've just said it's a 2-0. It's a 2-0.
2-0. We'll record it. We're definitely going to record it, and then after 7th of October, we'll call you and ask.
Yes, it's going to be a 2-0. If it's 3, that's fine. But then, like I said, our girls are going to give them a 2 straight and tell them that, see, you have been alive before us, but you see, we are your new seniors, and you would have to treat us well anytime you meet us at Hazakes.
Seniors?
Yes.
I'm sure Coach Basigi would definitely not be happy hearing that.
But Basigi knows that he knows. And you see, anytime he had any interview, he tells it that, see, if there is any team he is afraid of, and he prepares well to meet, if there is any team that anybody prepares well to meet, it's Berry. You'd be amazed that a team that is even going, see, Migration was going on relegation, so down. The week they were supposed to play us, if I tell you the kind of training Migration had, and when they came to play, they played us with their might. All of them had to play. They had to go back to bring Adwoa Bayo to play. You can imagine. But they won't let Adwoa come to play. No, Adwoa won't play against Hazakes. No, but they had to make sure all their old team members were coming on the field. And that is what they did. Adwoa had to play that.
Wow.
And it happens every time that, see, any team that may be terrible, when they meet Berry, they have a strategy. And you have to have a strategy. Maybe we should ask Hazakes why they decided to withdraw from the Super Cup.
Oh my days. Amazing stuff. Well, it's been fun. It's been fun having the conversation with you, Ms. Gifty. I will definitely revisit this, particularly after your first game. I want to see how your 2-0 prediction went.
I think if it goes well, it means I'm going to be the next predictor.
Maybe Prophet Nigel. Add Nigel to your name or something.
Maybe Gifty Nigel.
Yeah. Nigel will tell you, come and pay something for using his name. I just say that. But I mean, wish you all the best in the coming season. We wish women's football all the best, and we'll definitely be following it and see how.
Yeah, you should be giving us more time. You should be giving us more time to discuss it, and then maybe media should be doing more press briefing with us, and then be interested in our game, because our game is becoming of age, and very soon our game, there's going to be so much money in our game that if you guys decide to be part of our game, we are going to make you richer.
Yeah, maybe you should start giving us some money then.
Yeah, we will, as far as there is money, why not? When there is money, we all share.
250,000 is a lot of money.
But we have 20 clubs that are playing, so if even the 250,000 is going to be divided by the 20 clubs, if it was 200, everybody was going to get how much? 20,000.
You can give us maybe $1,000 a week. We can work with that.
$1,000 a week means we are going to finish all the money on media.
Anyway, I mean, great. It's been fun, and we will be following the women's game closely and next month, and of course we'll be there in the game involving Berry ladies and Hazakes ladies. We've been speaking to Miss Gifty Owari Mensah, and we'll be back. We'll definitely have a part 2 of this conversation. I'm very curious to see how Berry ladies fare against Hazakes ladies, and whether they will win the league and get to Africa. We are just waiting to see. But we'll meet again next time. My name is Razak Musbao. Thanks so much for your time.